Ayad nga agahon, coming to you live from Numancia, Aklan, in Western Visayas, here in the Philippines. I'm having my morning cup of coffee in my coffee with Gino cup here, my Copico Blanca. Copico Blanca is my choice of 3-in-1 coffee here in the Philippines. It's a powder form, coffee, cream, and sugar all in one. Very popular here in the Philippines. Many different types of 3-in-1 coffees. You put it in your cup, you put hot water, you got a nice cup of coffee. Very inexpensive here in the Philippines. Like my Copico Blanca cost me about 8 pesos per cup of coffee. So I get a 10 pack usually. That's about 80 pesos. So about $1.50 for 10 cups of coffee. Let me just make sure I'm working. I'm working on the live stream here. There it is. I see myself. I see myself. Let me lower the volume here. That way. All right. Looks like I'm working. Hey, Charlie Latz, my good friend in Boston. My good friend in Boston. Ooh, my light went out. I was gonna use this light, but it went out. So let me try and charge it up here with my charger. These things are like really cheap, about 150 pesos is how much this thing. It's a light and a fan, but of course made in China, so they don't really do a good job. But for 150 pesos, $2.50, you really can't complain. You really can't complain. Yo, 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 Tim, my good friend in Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. All right, Tim. I started early today. It's Sunday. I dropped off Mom and Leanne at church. So when I got back here, made myself a cup of coffee. I'm eating a banana muffin. I got this banana muffin from Goldilocks. Very popular bakery here in the Philippines. They make cakes and all that. And this is a new product. I've never had a banana muffin from Goldilocks, so I'm trying it. It's pretty decent. Not bad for a muffin. It's like 40 pesos, about 75 cents for the banana muffin at Goldilocks. All right, let me do the weather. I always start with the weather. And we do have a tropical depression Wilma. Kind of like Fred Flintstones, Wilma, Wilma. It's, let me read from the Pag-asa, the official report here from Pag-asa. Right now, it is, let me see here. It says the center of the tropical depression, Wilma, estimated vicinity of Matuguinao. I never heard of Matuguinao. Samar is over at Samar. My good friend Belus, he's right there. Samar is on the top, Leyte is on the bottom, so it's right there. So it's getting some rain, and we're getting rain here. Rainy day all day yesterday, rainy morning this morning. So pretty much the whole country, pretty much of the Philippines is getting rain today with maximum sustained winds, not strong winds, but bringing rain and then gustiness. You would see the gust of the wind here. Not too bad this morning. Yesterday was more wind in our area here. Eastern Visayas, Western Visayas, Masbate, my good friend Michael White in Masbate Island, Romblon, Mindoro, rains with gusty winds. Exactly what we're getting the past 2 days here from a tropical depression Wilma. Metro Manila, Calabarzon, Bicol region, cloudy skies with scattered rains and isolated thunderstorm. Palawan, rainy in Palawan, Northern Luzon, rainy in Luzon, Ilocos, Mindanao, partly cloudy. So the entire Philippines, it don't matter where you are in the Philippines right now, you are getting some rain. there's no two ways about it. Everywhere in the Philippines, getting rain today. Let me just it's sped up there, sped up there. Bill Meyer, hey, good morning, Bill Meyer. Thank you for, hey, John Vasquez, John B with the alien. All right, love the alien, brother. Good morning, Philippines. Hey, my good friend Ray from Sacramento, California. Good morning, brother. Good morning, brother. Goldilocks, been there a few times for sure. Yeah, I mean, they're coming out with new products, I've noticed, like with the muffin, that's a new one for them. Usually I love their Brazo de Mercedes. Brazo de Mercedes, like a dessert, really good dessert. That's one of my favorite there. Of course, they have like, looks like cake slices, but you eat it with your coffee. What else do they have there? The cakes, they're popular with their cakes, but nice bakery. And they're all over the Philippines. Goldilocks, there's not a place in the Philippines that I don't think there's a Goldilocks. Big franchise of baked goods. Bill Meyer, I'll start with the weather here. Visibility is 1/8 of a mile. Blowing snow, man. I have not been in snow, Bill, since I left Japan in 2003. So 22 years I have not seen snow. So, man, that's like, but I still remember it because I endured like, how was that? 4 winters in Japan, northern Japan, and the winters in northern Japan were very long because we get that wind from Russia. From October to April, there was snow in the ground. I didn't think about that about Japan. I thought Japan was like not like tropical like the Philippines, but I did not expect that much snow in Japan. But they do. They get a lot of snow in Japan. All right, thank you. Let me see. Let me read the name. Let me put the heart on that. Sony B. All right, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, my friend. I don't know what money that is. NOK. NOK. I don't know what. But thank you. Thank you very much, my friend. Robert Costales, good morning, my friend. Have a great aloha. Aloha, Robert. All right. I got my my brothers from Hawaii. Manila Gorilla. Hey, Martin. Hi. Good morning, Martin. Retracted. No worries. All right. JP, hey, hello, Gino and everyone. All right, JP. Good morning. Good morning to you. Hey, Belus, there he is. There he is. My brother Belus in Leyte. The Colonel, I saw the Colonel went to Belus. They did a live stream together. I saw the party, man. You got quite a number of people. I'm sure they're your workers in your farm and everything. There's a lot of people in that party. Good looking party, man. Lots of food. I was like, man, it's like Belus knows how to throw down a party, and Red Ribbon is the other one. Yeah, Red Ribbon. Red Ribbon here in Calibo. I don't think we have a Red Ribbon in Calibo. I've only seen Red Ribbon, Tim, at Rojas City what is that? Either Robinson or SM Mall, and of course Iloilo City's got a Red Ribbon, but not in Calibo. We do not have a Red Ribbon in Calibo. John V, all right, JP. Rain in Leyte, really? Belus is laughing because that's normal. That's normal for Belus in Leyte. It rains all the time. Oh, HD, long time no see. HD, greetings and salutation. We're getting rain. We're getting rain here in Numancia. HD is just like a couple of barangays down the road from me here I'm in Barangay Huyao, and HD, he's in Barangay, I think Albasan. I think it's Barangay Albasan. Maybe I'm wrong because too many barangays here in Numancia, but he's not far. HD lives maybe 5-10 minutes from my house. Clean Goldine, currently with 6-7. All right, pregnant. All right. Hey, good luck on the pregnancy. Good luck on the pregnancy. Darog. Hello, 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 Darog. Hi, JP and Kalibo. All right. And then, let me see. Man, the green sometimes is hard for me to read. Let me see. Let me put this. Yeah, I can't read that for some reason. The green on the screen is hard. Oh, it's Brian. It's Brian. It's TextFat. TextFat. My good friend from Galveston County, Texas. All right. Norwegian. All right, all right. Thank you for that, Tim. I was like, NOK. I'm like, I know about Norway's always been one. I've never been to Norway, but I've always wanted to go. My cousin, one of my cousins that I grew up with, he actually lived in our house in Quezon City when I was growing up. He graduated. He graduated from Mapua. Mapua was his college in Manila at the time. He became a medical technologist, like a laboratory, a guy that worked in the lab. And the minute he graduated, this was back in the mid 70s, he went to Norway to work at the hospital in Norway and became a Norwegian citizen and all that, lived all his life pretty much in Norway, but now he's retired back here in the Philippines. He's in his 60s now. He lives in the like Tagaytay area. He's got a nice house, nice setup, but his kids are Norwegian, you know. His kids are Norwegian citizens also. It's Norwegian krone. All right, is Iceland. I did not, I could not tell. I was like, NOK. I was like, NOK. But now I know. Now I know, man. Voice. Are you am I the chicken man? I could be, man. I've been mistaken for it, man. I'm gonna throw you a line. I'm gonna throw you a line from breaking from this one is from Better Call Saul. Because I'm watching I watched the whole series Breaking Bad, and now I'm watching. I'm on the last season of Better Call Saul. I'm kind of regretting that I went through all of it again because it's been so much fun. It's kept my mind busy watching that. And I'm going to do a line. I decide what he deserves, no one else. That's like Gus Fring, baby. Gus Fring, baby. Yeah, I just love that show. I used to think that my favorite show was Sopranos, but I think my favorite show now is Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul because like I haven't gone back. It's been a few years now since I've watched The Sopranos. And you know, Sopranos kind of like the older, like the genre of like gangster kind of thing. Whereas the Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul is kind of like the new gangster style, you know, the cartel and all that. So I think I do prefer now. I do prefer. It's more modern. You know, they're using modern technology with HD, been working on the house 2 weeks straight. Today is the date. All right, good day to rest. Good day to rest. Sunday, good day to rest, HD. Think I'm not from India. Okay, well, nothing wrong with India, man. It's like Belus, the party was fun. They deserve it, of course, right? And I know that made you happy, Belus. You know, it's like you treat your employees well, man. That's a good feeling when you're providing, when you're treating people, when they appreciate you here. I'm sure you're like well respected in your community. Once a year, work hard for us. Yeah, are blessed to have such good crew. Yeah, you gotta thank your people, right? And it's like that's the best way. It's like you know you have to treat your people well. That way they stay loyal to you. They're dedicated to you. It's like good job, Belize. That's awesome. A bunch of Scandinavian countries have their currencies as krone or krona. Oh, nice, man. I was actually thinking maybe it was the euro or something, but I guess you know they got their own. I hear about the euro all the time, you know, but the first time I've heard about the krone or the krona. Actually, it is called kroner. Kroner. Kind regards from Denmark. Oh, all right, cool, cool. I've never seen that part of the world. So I've never been in that part. Denmark, Norway. I've never been to that part. I've traveled mostly in the Pacific. Because when I was in the United States Air Force, I always wanted to be close to the Philippines so that on my vacations I can travel to the Philippines to go home here. So I've always been around, Guam, Hawaii, Kadena Air Base, Yokota Air Base, Korea, this area, in the Pacific. Never went to like that part of Europe. Ryan Gita, Jesus loves you. All right, I know, man. I know Jesus loves me, man. I know that. I've been blessed, brother. I've been blessed. I'm a cancer survivor. So anytime you survive cancer, I survived 12 chemo treatments and I survived 33 radiation treatments. So you cannot stop to feel blessed and that you've been saved, when you survive something like that. All right, no worries there, Ryan. All right, I've got to the bottom. I always try to do a topic. I know my friend Belus appreciates it. My brother Belus, he appreciates my topics when I do this live stream. So I'm just not talking. I'm not just talking. Also, feel free to ask me any questions about the Philippines. Usually, that is like the topic I discuss. Any questions you have here about banking here, about tourist visa, about SR, anything about the Philippines. I've been here in the Philippines in come March. I've been here 15 years. I've been retired here. I'll be turning 60 here next year. So since I was 45 years old, I moved here to the Philippines, and I've retired. I'm retired. I've never worked here. So for the last 15 years, I know what the retirement life is like here. If you want to retire here, I think I can give you good advice on how to retire here, what things to avoid, what things pros and cons, because there are many pros and cons of the Philippines. You often hear it from people. This is paradise. It could be paradise, but there's a lot of pros and cons. It's like especially if you're coming from a Western developed country already. If you're moving from the United States, let's say, or Canada, that's a pretty developed country, infrastructure, medical, all that, and you're moving here to a developing country. Big adjustment, big adjustment. You're not gonna have all the luxuries, all the conveniences that you have in your country. Also, just the culture itself. The Filipino culture is a complicated culture to understand, but great people. You're not gonna meet these are like the nicest people, humble, kind, religious people. It's like, but they're complicated. It's like, I think you can pretty much say that with any culture, really. Americans are complicated, Filipinos are complicated, Thailand people are complicated. Especially if you don't grow up in that culture. It takes time to like understand the dynamic, and for me, even I'm Filipino, I'm an American citizen, I'm a Filipino citizen. I've been split my life, half my life in the US, half my life here in the Philippines. And I still don't understand fully like the Filipino culture because it's evolving also. It's evolving. The youth or the younger people now coming up, they're not holding on to like the traditional values here in the Philippines. And I'm glad Fortune is here. Good morning, Fortune, because Fortune, he knows about this. Like, I mean, there's things that are always gonna be here in the Philippines, even with the youth coming up. The respect for elders, the mano po. Mano po is like you take the elder's hand, put it in your forehead. Mano po, sign of respect to our elders, to our grandparents, lolo and lola. But the youth here in the Philippines, of course, because of social media, they're all on their gadgets all the time. They're watching so much stuff, that comes from the United States, all their movies, all that. It's, the traditional values or the traditional Filipinos coming up, most of them you're gonna see in the provinces, unfortunately. The ones in the city, man, I see them. I see them. I'm watching TV and I'm watching YouTube. They're dressing like something that you would see like in Los Angeles, all the gear, all the branded items. They're flipping back the hats. And I understand they're trying to be cool when they're young, but I think they're losing some of the what the Philippines is about. The heritage, the culture. They're losing part of that. They're becoming more westernized, more Americanized. In the cities, you would see that more in the cities. In the province, it's alive and well. Here in the province, when I go pick up Liana at school, I see it. This is still the Philippines that I knew growing up. Kids are playing outside. They're playing games that I grew up with, like sipa. Sipa is kind of like hacky sack. You like hit it with your leg, and this thing's like you're playing hacky sack. The kids still chase each other in the playground. They tag your it. They're still playing that in the neighborhood here at Sunset. The kids here ride their bicycles, so at least that is still alive. And little pockets of the Philippines that is still alive. HD, I learned that Iceland have the Scandinavian language well preserved based on isolation. Oh, that makes sense. If they're like isolated and like in an island, they're able to preserve. Good AM, Gino Fam and the Panay Posse from Fortune. All right, Fortune, Aklan on Wilma's path. Yeah, we're getting rain. Definitely getting rain here. Like it's the yesterday rainy day all day. Looks like it's gonna be rainy day again today. Let me show you just what it looks like outside instead of just talking about the weather. I'm gonna walk you out there and have you look at the weather here in Aklan. And it's been like this pretty much whole day yesterday. Light rain right now. We're not seeing big gust of wind anymore. Yesterday was more windy. We were getting a gust. I think this tropical depression Wilma, very slow moving, because normally, in 24 hours, usually you will see like the typhoons come and go. They're like after 24 hours, the typhoon is already gone. But today, right there, it's picking up again. Rain is picking up again. But it's very slow moving, because yesterday morning it was maybe 200 kilometers before entering Samar and Leyte, and then this morning at 24 hours later it is still over Samar, so it's not moving fast. So I'm thinking for the next 2 or 3 days it's gonna be like this here in Aklan province. We're gonna be getting a lot of rain. No flooding though, no flooding. I have not seen any flooding yet. I have not seen any flooding in Aklan. Usually I can go to my Facebook and you'll see like places that get flooded here in Aklan. There's just areas, pretty much anywhere you go in the Philippines, there's just areas that are like flood prone. It doesn't take much rain and it'll flood in many areas of the Philippines. Like even in Metro Manila. Hey, my friend Grace says, hey, Gino. Even in Metro Manila, Fortune knows this, me growing up back in the 70s and even to this day, there's areas in Metro Manila, it could rain like for 1 hour, all of a sudden it's like flooding in the streets already, like at España, that's like notorious for flood by University of Santo Tomas, that area, man, that gets flooded easy. HDI Fortune, hello Fortune, Master Yoda. All right, from HD, the eye of Wilma is supposed to hit around 2 p.m. today. All right. I'm looking at the windy app here. It's hard to tell where the eye is, but it looks like it's right past Samar. Looks like it's in definitely between maybe on top of Cebu. On the windy app here. It's hard to tell because it's not like it's not the normal like the typhoon where you can really see the colors. But it's gonna pass us definitely. It's gonna pass us here in Aklan province before it clears out, before it goes out to sea again. But not much rain. I haven't seen heavy rain. I haven't seen like the heavy torrential rain or anything. Just light rain throughout the day is what I'm seeing. Minnie Mouser said hi. All right. Fortune says, good AM, John V, Ray, MG, JP, Belus HD. All right, all right. Kroner means crown. Oh, okay, crown. Yeah, all right, all right. Thank you, man. I'm getting educated this morning, man. You guys are educating me. Do you like the Dalai Lama? I mean, he seems okay. I mean, the Dalai Lama looks like he's a cool dude. Those monks and all when I see them, they seems like good people. I don't know that much about them, but I know they're respected in their country. Red Fred, hi bro. Just for your info, I will be going to Dubai. All right, in February. Nice, nice. To get married to my Filipina. Hey, congratulations, Red Fred. All right, marrying a Filipina, man. Happy for you, my brother. Then I will get her to come to Canada. All right, I will go to the Philippines in 1 year. All right, Red Fred, congratulations. And that's like awesome, man. Red Fred, I've known Red Fred now for quite some time. So we've met from our YouTube channel, but awesome, man. We're friends on Facebook, so all right, Red Fred. Right fortune. That's why I thought of it as krone or krona, since it sounds like crown. Some countries have the krona, which means the same. All right. I've never heard of it, man. I've never heard. And me, I used to collect stamps when I was a kid. I still have stamps. My friend Gray gave me stamps, so I'm enjoying. I never collected coins, but I was big on stamps, and I still, right now, I have a small collection of stamps. I like looking at them. I like, it helps me understand like the world geography because where the stamps came, but I never got into coins. Never got into coins. Corona, yeah, I know. Hey, man, I've had my share of Corona beer, man. I've had my share of Corona beer, JP. I don't drink anymore, but I had my share. Back in the day, back during my military days, I would have Corona. Dos Equis is another Mexican beer that I like. What else? Pretty much Dos Equis. Between Dos Equis and Corona also means crown. HD, JP. That's why Toyota named it Corolla for crown. I never owned a Corolla, or I never owned a Toyota Crown, but I think Celica. I owned a Toyota Celica back in the 80s. I remember that was one of the cars that I've owned before. John Vasquez. All right, Fortune. Letron will meet either Sambeda or Saint in the finals. All right, that's my school. That's my school. Letron, thank you for letting me know that, Fortune. I have some people on my Facebook that from my days at Letron, so I'm sure if they win, I'm sure I'll see that. For UP, it will be De La Salle final start Wednesday. All right. Gino is neutral about Russia. Neutral about Russia. Yeah, I don't really, not that I could care, it's like about Russia. There's really nothing that affects me here in the Philippines when it comes to Russia. I mean, we get a lot of Russians, There's now a direct flight from Russia to Calibo. I mean, that's like surprising. I was like, what? It's like a direct flight from Russia all the way to Calibo. It doesn't pass Cebu, doesn't pass Manila. It goes directly to Calibo because a lot of Russians like to go to Boracay Island. There's actually many residents of Boracay that are Russians. They're like Boracay. Boracay is like families. It's like every time that direct flight from Russia lands in Calibo, they take pictures of the people coming off the airplane. And you can see their little kids, husband and wife. I guess Boracay is a family destination for Russians. Derek, aloha, aloha, my brother, aloha, my brother. Derek, Minnie Mouser said hi. All right. Speaking of flooding in España, UST, when they lost to UP in Final Four, people said it will flood in España. Well, it would flood in tears. That's funny. That's funny. It will flood in tears. And I just remember that, I used to go from Quezon City all the way to Intramuros, and I would pass España almost every day going to school. And I just remember it don't take much. It's like that area gets flooded. But the jeepneys still go through it. I remember riding the jeepneys. You could just see the water. You can see the water. Those jeepneys were built pretty good to like pass through the flooding in Manila. Fortune, like and subscribe. All right. Good morning to all our friends. All right, Colonel. I know you and Belus. I know you guys are having fun at Belus's house in Leyte. Hello, Colonel. Fortune. Before the invention of the euro currency, each country in Europe had their own currency. That I remember. Before, I guess we're old enough. I guess we're old enough to remember before the euro came about. Like I said, I never collected coins, but I collected stamps. That's why that helped me understand. Like, my favorite stamps were like all the stamps that had Queen Elizabeth on it, because a lot of stamps back in the day, when you lift up the stamp, there's an outline. You can't see the outline, but when you put it in light and raise it, and there's the Queen Elizabeth on the background. Good AM, Colonel, still in Leyte. All right. Slow soaker here. Yep, so yeah, it is slow rain. Same thing I showed them earlier. Not the typhoon torrential rain, right? But here it's been like a steady rain all day. Yesterday it rained all day. Today it looks like it's a steady rain again. Will the rice transplant? It's normal. Yeah, Belus knows all about rain. Now I know that Leyte here is kind of like Seattle in the United States, where it rains all the time. It's like, yes, sir. All right, Colonel. Yes, sir. Found time to visit the Landing Memorial. All right, MacArthur's Landing in Leyte. That forever. Greetings from Milan. Oh, wow, Milan. Man, long way. Italy, right? Milan, Italy. Wow, long way. Been enjoying the rain too much. Fortune. All right. Okay, Colonel. Toyota Celica, you're so cool. You're so cool. No, I like that. I like that. I remember it was like that was my car when I joined. After I joined the military, I bought. It was used. It wasn't not a brand new Toyota Celica, but it was nice, man. I remember I had rims. California. Back in the day, we all had rims on it. I had the Falken Falken tires on it, low profile tires. Back in the day, you tried to be cool. You tried to be cool back in the day. I even have the exhaust where you had the dual exhaust. But when you makes that sound like the makes that sound. Back in the day, man. Back in the day, I was young, man. Back in the day, I was early 20s. I was in the military. It's like, Kumusta? Hey, Lowell, kumusta? From Oregon, mabuhay, Lowell. God bless, my brother. God bless, my brother. JP, hello, Lowell. Hello, JP. Gino, if we do posse trip to Leyte, since you are tall, you should be MacArthur. You for the group picture, I could be MacArthur. That's funny, man. I gotta have a pipe, right? You gotta have that pipe. I might have to get that, kind of like a bus driver hat. Like MacArthur is like the ladies live. The Toyota love. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I enjoyed that car. Probably one of the nicest car, that I had. That I enjoyed that Celica. Good AM, Lowell. The ladies love. Yep, the ladies love. Belize, I can see Eastern EU loving it here. Freezing there. Yes, It will been steady since 2018. That's why we escaped to Cebu. Yeah, at least you got an escape to Cebu from all the rain. Who will be President Osmeña? Morning fortune. All right, I'm gonna hit the topic here. Like I said, I always try to do a topic, and my topic today is sponsor. A sponsor here in the Philippines. I think if you're, even if you're in the planning stages of moving, many people are in the planning stages of coming here. I always get messages from people. I'm 5 years away. I get a message from one guy today earlier. It's like I'm 10 years away from moving to the Philippines. He's really planning ahead, right? 10 years, 5 years. It doesn't matter. How many years you got left wherever you're working. It's never too early to plan for the Philippines. And my topic is find a sponsor here in the Philippines that will really help you, in trying to figure out the Philippines. You can watch YouTube, many bloggers on YouTube. Unfortunately, with the bloggers now, many expat bloggers that I've seen, sometimes they do give conflicting information. If anything, sometimes people get confused. It's like, and until you really get boots on the ground, you really won't know how it is over here. But I think it would be beneficial if you can find a sponsor that would sponsor you around. When I was in the military, when we go from base to base. In the military, I moved 7 times in 20 years. That's how many times I left my base, go to another base. Very common in the military. Usually every 3 years, you move in the military. And every time I moved in the military, when I went to Korea, when I lived in Japan, when I got stationed here in the Philippines, they always assign you a sponsor. And back in the day, we didn't even have internet. We didn't even have all this internet. Back in the day, we could write letters. We would write letters. Your sponsor will send you a letter. Hey, Gino, I'm your sponsor. They introduce themselves. And it's usually somebody that worked in the same place where you would be working. Like me, I worked at the hospital. I was a medical administration is what I worked. So all my sponsors were always somebody that was also working in medical administration at the hospital where I was going. And it makes sense because that person would be a good person to communicate with, right? To write letters at the time. And also in the military, we had what's called DSN. We can call each other on the phone, military to military phone. That was allowed in the military. And back in the day, the 80s, maybe even early 90s, it's expensive to call, right? Before the internet, before all this messenger, video call, before all this stuff, man. If you're using commercial line to call from the US to another country or US to US, man, your phone bill was high. It was expensive back in the day. But we had the capability they allowed us to, like, if I was in California and my sponsor was in Korea and I was going to Korea, I can actually call him on a phone, on a military phone, to introduce myself and, hey man, I'm you're my sponsor. And then you can ask him everything about your work situation, where they're gonna put me to work, the hospital situation, what kind of housing will I get? Am I gonna live in the dormitory? Am I gonna live outside the base? All that you can ask your sponsor. And that's why I got the idea of this sponsor thing, that I think you should find a sponsor here in the Philippines before you get here. It will really help your transition here to the Philippines if you can find a sponsor before you even get here, because there's so many questions that I know people have about moving here. Even kind of like a support person too, right? It's nice to have somebody when you land and wherever you go in the Philippines. It's nice to have somebody there to greet you, to welcome you, to like show you around town, show you the good part of town, or stay out of that area at night. It's like kind of thing, because most cities, most towns, anywhere you go, there's gonna be like shady looking areas, right? There's gonna be areas where I wouldn't be walking in that street late at night. It might be trouble for you. Things like that, that person can assist you with. Let me just try to keep up with the messages here too. That way I don't get too behind. It says here for top of the morning, Master Sergeant. Michael Manalastas, my friend in Northern California. All right. Miss Channel. All right. Wave. All right. You froze on me. Oh, Lowell, am I frozen? Let me look. Let me look at my if I'm frozen. Nope, I'm not frozen. Maybe it's just your internet, man. I can see myself on my laptop, so I'm not frozen. Maybe someone who earns the honor by eating balut. Not this guy. All right, you're back. All right, I'm back. All right. Hello, man. All right. Said hi. All right. You send them a sponsor pack. Right, Ray. That's another thing. We would come up with like a sponsor packet, like tour brochures about Korea, brochures about the Philippines, brochures about the Japan, anything that you of value that you think will help the person transition. We would package it and send it military to military base mail. We would send it and you get a sponsor packet. And it was always nice when you got that sponsor packet, because when you open the sponsor packet, ooh man, exciting things about what you're about to experience going to that country. Renz, good morning to all. All right. So that's why I think, and how would you go about, that would be the next question, right? How would you go about finding a sponsor here in the Philippines? I think that's when, the forums, the Facebook groups, and I know not some people don't like Facebook, but there are many expat groups on Facebook, Philippine expats, positive expats. I'm a member to at least six or seven groups, and I like it because I get information in there regarding people renewing their visa. The latest and greatest. And usually, if you read through the comments, you'll find people or do a search. Like let's say you're going to Leyte, just do it on the search. Put Leyte, and all the communication that had Leyte will go in there, and you'll see you'll find out people that are already in Leyte, and that's a start. Reach out to them. What's the worst thing they can say? Hey man, I'm thinking about going to Leyte. How is it like in Leyte? Some people will say you might never get a response, right? That's cool. But there's people here that I know, they feel it. They feel how it is for you when they came here, that nobody was guiding them. That's how you would meet. That's how you would meet a person that lives in the area where you would go. Another way, my friend Ruben. That's how Ruben found me on YouTube. Ruben, he's from San Diego. About 2 years ago, he was planning to move here to the Philippines. He's here now for like a year now, a complete year. He landed New Year's Day. He's gonna complete his 1 year here in the Philippines at the end of this month. What Ruben did was he selected the areas: Davao City, Dumaguete City, Angeles City, and then I guess Calibo, because of the vlogger. He contacted the vlogger themselves. He contacted me. Hey, Gino, I'm thinking of moving, considering Calibo as my landing place. So he contacted, and then when he came on his, I call it like recon, his first trip to the Philippines, he was here for 30 days. He went and met the vloggers. He met me in person. He met a vlogger in Davao. He met a vlogger in Dumaguete. He met a vlogger in Angeles City to get information regarding the area, and I guess Ruben just felt comfortable with me. It's like he selected Calibos. That's why he lives in Calibo now. So that's another way. I'm sure you can come up with other ways. Like I said, if you go on those groups, you can kind of sense who the good people are on those expat groups just by reading their comments. You can tell the ones that you want to avoid. Right? You can tell. It's like I can go right now to the Philippine expats Facebook page right now, any comment, and then any topic that somebody brings up, just by looking at the comments, I can immediately say like, I'm not talking to that guy. It's like, you can, because the negativity, you can sense negativity easy, but you can also sense positivity. And then if you see somebody, oh, this guy's kind of positive, he's like, I like his vibe. Reach out, send a messenger, ain't no harm in sending somebody a messenger, right? The worst thing they can say, well, say, or not reply back. But chances are people will reply, because a lot of times we have this commonality here that we're all moving somewhere else, that we're lived most of our life coming to the Philippines. And people, I know, I know my friends, they want to share that with other people. They want other people to have a chance to experience the good life. Edgar and I had a discussion about this. Edgar, my good friend, my brother now, my brother Edgar, he moved here from Ohio. Now he's in Calibo. He was telling me that, he wants to share also. If he can help another person make the decision to move here, he's happy to do that. Happy to do that. And I think most people are like that. Most people are good. It's like I believe that. I believe in the good nature of people. Let me see here. All right. Prefer expats in the area, bloggers. And you will learn so much about them. You will learn so much about the area. One of the things a lot of times, that a lot of people don't consider when they move here to the Philippines. I've mentioned this in vlogs before. I've mentioned it in live streams before, is having a watcher. Having a watcher. Many people don't think about that when they come here to the Philippines. It's not even in their thinking. A watcher is somebody that if you get sick and if you get admitted to a hospital, you need a watcher. Most hospitals here, they're going to be like, the minute you get admitted, they're going to, who's your watcher? A watcher is the one that's going to be staying with you in your hospital. When you get admitted to the hospital here, I know we don't really want to talk about hospital, but it's a fact. People get sick here. People get admitted to the hospital. A watcher is somebody, when you get admitted to the hospital, here's your hospital bed. Usually there's like a small chair, a little bench that becomes like where your watcher will sit, sleep, The watcher stays with you 24/7 in the hospital, pretty much. That watcher is anything you need while you're in the hospital. That watcher is the one that's gonna go get it. Because here, when you get admitted to the hospital, let's say they put an IV on you, right? That's common. Dehydration is usually, that's the first thing. You get to put an IV on you. You're laying in bed. You might not be mobile. You might not be able to get up, get out of your bed. So that watcher is responsible. Now, not only they usually have good hospital food, they bring that, but that watcher is responsible to be paying your bills while you're in the hospital. The way a lot of hospitals here work, if you need a lab work, if you need x-ray, if you need medication, the watcher is the one that's going to pay for it first. The way it works here, it's not the same in the US, where you get admitted to the hospital, everything they do to you at the hospital, medicine, lab work, radiology, you're just getting treated, right? And then at the end of your stay, when you're getting discharged, you get the long bill. You get the long bill. Or sometimes you get discharged and you'll get the bill in the mail. Here, it doesn't work like that. If the doctor orders like blood work on you, you got to pay for that blood work on the spot. Somebody's got to go to the cashier, pay for that lab work, get the receipt, and then take that receipt to like the nursing station. The nursing station will contact the phlebotomist or the lab guy to come and get your blood. Same thing with radiology. They're not gonna x-ray you here without payment. So what happens if you come to the hospital and you only have 1,000 peso in your wallet? Somebody's got to get your money. So that's the role of the watcher. The watcher will be the one that's like, you're gonna have to trust your watcher with your ATM and with your PIN to get your money, or GCash. If you got, that's why a lot of those things when you get here, you gotta set that up in advance. You don't want to be the guy that you get sick, you're in an ambulance, they're taking you to the hospital, and you got no money in your GCash. You didn't bring your ATM. That could be an issue here. They will stabilize you. They have the same laws here in the Philippines, whereas they're not just gonna throw you on the side. If it's a life and death situation, they will stabilize you. But if you're stabilized, the same thing in the U.S. As long as it's not life threatening, you might sit there in the emergency room. You might sit there in the urgent care for a long time before. You need the money. Some hospitals, they're not supposed to. I know there's laws here in the Philippines, anti-deposit. Sometimes some hospitals even ask for a deposit. They're not supposed to, but so many things here in the Philippines. Some hospitals don't abide. So you need that watcher. That watcher is very important. The minute you land here in the Philippines, actually, that should be one of your priorities, especially, we're advanced in age. We're in the fourth quarter of our life. Getting admitted to the hospital is, gonna be a thing here. As you get older, that's one thing that you might not be able to avoid. There's things here in the Philippines that can get you to the hospital so fast. Example, if you get dengue fever. I know dengue fever is not a thing in the US. I never heard of dengue fever. But here in the Philippines, if you get dengue fever, chances are you're going to get admitted to the hospital. And it comes from mosquitoes. And dengue fever requires sometimes blood. You have to get, what is that? Like a transfusion of blood, with dengue fever. That's another thing that you're going to need a watcher. The hospitals here, not all hospitals will have blood in the hospital. Like here in Kalibo, if you need blood in Kalibo, you're going to have to go to the Red Cross. Well, if you're admitted in the hospital already, how are you going to get to the Red Cross? That's another task that your watcher will be doing. Your watcher will be going to the Red Cross office, and the Red Cross is going to, in order for the Red Cross to release blood to you, the Red Cross is going to ask you for donors. The Red Cross is not just going to give you blood. Like if I'm A positive, hey, I need the doctor says 1 pint of A positive. The Red Cross is going to tell you, okay, where's your donors? You would have to have an actual donors that would have to donate to the Red Cross in order for you to get blood. A lot of that stuff I know people don't know. They find out when they get sick. Good to know information. Those are the kind of things that you really need to know, the way they operate here, the way they do things here, before you get in that emergency situation. Like I said, that watcher is like the biggest thing I think that you would need the minute you land here in the Philippines. Let's say you get admitted to the hospital, right? There's another thing that's very common here. The pharmacies inside the hospital, unless it's like the BGC St. Luke's or somebody, big hospital in Manila, the ones in the provinces, they don't carry a big inventory of prescription medicine in the hospitals. A lot of times the doctor will write you a prescription. You would take that prescription to the hospital pharmacy. They will not have the medicine. What's required is the watcher to go outside the hospital, go to Mercury Drug or go to Watson's. Those are like the two big pharmacies here in Kalibo. Most of the time, Mercury Drug would have everything. I mean, Mercury Drug is just like big anywhere in the Philippines. They're actually building a Mercury Drug here now in Kalibo, 2 stories high. A gigantic building, Mercury Drug, Mercury Pharmacy. They would have your drug there. So again, your watcher would have to ride the tricycle, go to Mercury Drug, line up at Mercury Drug, get your prescription, go back to the hospital, give the prescription to like the nurses at the nurses desk, and the nurses will like allocate the medicine you'll take. So I know that's not a dynamic that you'll experience in the US. I worked 27 years in the medical field in the America, in the United States. Never seen the watcher, never seen. I mean, you can get admitted to the hospital there by yourself. You know, you don't. But here, you do need a watcher. So that's the thing. And a lot of times, if you have a sponsor, if you got good rapport with the sponsor, that might be your watcher. If you become good friends with whoever your sponsor is. But a lot of times, what people end up doing, they come here, and of course they meet a Filipina. The Filipina and the Filipinas family becomes their watcher. Good AM, Michael M. All right, Rance. Agree. There are many expats in the Philippines. Yeah, I don't know, right? That's an understatement at this point. I think and it's not just Americans, Canadians, expats here. There's Koreans here. There's Chinese here. There's like from all over the world. There's just a lot of expats now here. Howdy to all my posse bros. All right, Daniel, my good friend, my brother in Jacksonville, Florida. You're an ideal sponsor, and that's what I've become. It's like when you initially come here, I'm your sponsor. JP, when he gets here, JP doesn't have to worry about anything. JP, hopefully not get admitted to the hospital. Let's not make that. But if he does need to go, I'm the sponsor. I'll take care. I take care of my guys. Daniel will be the same thing. He doesn't have to worry about that because I'm their sponsor. I took on that responsibility that when they landed, I picked them up at the airport like I did with Edgar. If Edgar needed anything when he first got here, I know where to go. Hey, Edgar, this is how you do it. It's just, I know it makes the transition here a lot easier if you have a sponsor. April 82, I was at E2 when I arrived at Subic Bay. All right, Derek, I didn't know you were stationed at Subic Naval Base. And me, I landed 1988 is when I landed at Clark. I was a staff sergeant already. I came from Korea. I did 1 year in Korea remote, and my follow-on assignment was the Philippines. And when I landed in the Philippines, I was already E5 staff sergeant. Hello, Daniel. Hi, Ree. All right, HD. It's a must to have a battle buddy. All right, battle buddy, right? That's a good name, battle buddy. Someone to have your back, of course. Once you settle, once a year, it's good to return kindness and help others. That's the way I look at it, man. It's like that's my goal. I'm sponsoring many people that move here. Ruben's been one, Nefty, Mel. I've been sponsoring people that move here to Kalibo. And for me, I don't ask anything for return. I don't ask for money or anything like that. But it would be nice when it's their turn, right? When it's their turn that somebody's coming in for them to sponsor somebody else. I'm not gonna ask them to do that, but hopefully that sponsorship, that helping hand, the battle buddy, hopefully that spreads, man. We learned that in the military, right, Daniel? It's like we're all brothers and sisters in the military. It doesn't matter if you're in the military, you're a brother and sister. That's the way I look. You're a veteran. I look at you as a brother and a sister. Michael C. Happy Sunday, bro. Beautiful day for sure. Hello, everyone. All right. My good friend in 13 Martires. Good AM, Daniel. Good AM, Michael C. HD. In Marvel Comic Universe, the Watcher. All right, I know. I have heard in the comic books is a race of interterrestrial beings who watches over the fictional multiverse. All right, HD. I haven't read I used to be when my younger years, my older brother was into comics. So that's how I got into comics when we were kids. But I have heard of the Watcher, but I haven't read any Watcher comic books. And I know comic books now, they're like ridiculously expensive now. It's not cheap. The new comics now are not cheap. No, all right. Good AM, Fortune is a watcher who is assigned to Earth. All right, or to Earth, man. I might have to research this watcher now. Maybe they'll make a movie out of this guy. This himself with the Fantastic Four. Yeah, I know about the Fantastic Four, which was the first watcher to break oath. Nice, nice, HD. Hello, Colonel JP. All right. Christmas to all. Yeah, I know, right? We're getting close to a Christmas here, and you look like a Hollywood. Oh, thank you, thank you. That's kind. That's kind, man. I look like Gus Fring. I look like Gus Fring. That's what everybody says, man. How you doing? How you doing? Hey, Emilio. All right, Emilio's in Boracay. Emilio spent a couple of days with Emilio here in Calibo. Now he's in Boracay. Last night he was. I mean, even with this weather, I told Emilio, people go to Boracay. Boracay is busy. You know, it's like, it doesn't matter if it's raining like this. There's still many people in Boracay. Last night he sent me a video. He's like by the pool, having a drink, having by the jacuzzi. They're having a foam party. Even they're having a foam party at the hotel he's staying at, the Savoy, right? The Savoy Hotel. Have fun, Emilio. And like I said, even with the rain, Boracay is still fun. If you go to like D Mall, Emilio, Front Beach, there's still gonna be many people out and about. And I know you're interested in like eating Filipino food. Try if you go to Front Beach. There's now on Front Beach near D Mall. There's several chicken and asal places. Eat some chicken and asal, man. One, I'll message you after the live stream. I'll message you the two I like. iDelicious is one that I like. Is one of the chicken and asal. But there's another one I found right close to iDelicious, because I'm sure Emilio, he wants to eat a lot of Filipino. I'm trying to think of Filipino food that I know you would enjoy there in Boracay. I'll message you after the live stream, Emilio. JP, that's me. All right, JP. After I get settled, I would be happy to help the next guy. Right? To me, that's what it's all about, right, JP? You know, it's like if I help someone, that person, all I ask of them is like, help the next person. Help the next person. That way, spread the love. Spread the love, man. Spread the love here in the Philippines. I can't wait to eat kanding once we come. All right, kanding. All right. If you come back in Calibo, I have to look, man, because I showed you the place that kanding is like kambing in Tagalog. Here in Aklan, they call it kanding. It's goat. I almost took Emilio he wanted to eat goat at Ugsaran restaurant. We drove past it, but at the time he was full. We just ate lunch. We were gonna get buko pie. So he said, man, I don't think I can eat the goat meat, but we almost did. But I can always get you takeout, man. When you come back here to Calibo, I hand you the takeout kambing, man. But I'm sure you can find kambing like even when you go back to Manila on your way out. There's but it is good. It is good. Good AM, Emilio. Caldereta kanding. Yeah. That's how they cook it. That's how they cook it at Ugsaran. They're known for it here in Makato. In Makato, Aklan is calderetang kanding or kambing. Kambing in Tagalog, kanding in Aklanan. Said hi. I just today booked all hotels in Tokyo. All right, Daniel, man. Jelly, man. I love Tokyo, man. I love Japan. Japan's like one of my favorite countries. Japan and Singapore. It's a toss-up between. I probably lean towards Singapore. For like a 4 or 5 day trip, Singapore is perfect. You can access so much of Singapore using the subway. Japan, to me, to really enjoy Japan takes at least 2 weeks, because there's so many areas you can go in Japan that to travel Japan. But you're gonna have a great time, man. Great time in Japan. Michael say, hey bro, I just looked up Gus Fring. You do look like, I know, man. I know this one. And I'm a huge fan, man. I'm a huge fan of Breaking Bad and Better. I just watched all 5 seasons of Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad. I finished it. I watched El Camino. I watched that. That was part of the Breaking Bad too, a movie, El Camino movie. And now I'm on the final season of Better Call Saul. And every time I watch those two series, it even gets better because I'm catching things that I didn't catch. The few times that I've watched it already, I'm always catching like, oh man, now it made sense. A lot of things, and they did it so well. Because Breaking Bad was like the original show, and then they with Better Call Saul, they kind of went back in time when that's why the people that died during Breaking Bad, they were alive during a Better Call Saul. Man, I just love the show. It's because it used to be my favorite, used to be The Sopranos, but I think I can say now my favorite of all time is Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Said hi. All right, damn. The average cost per night with taxes and fees was about. That's really good, man. That's really good, Daniel, for Tokyo anyway. $120 with taxes and fees. Really good, man. When I was in Japan, even in like 2000 to 2003, if I paid 120 a night in Tokyo, that was a good price back then. So it's like 22 years later. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I know Japan has become affordable now because the yen rate, the dollar exchange rate. When I was in Japan during the early 2000s, $1 was like 90 yen. 90 yen. Now I know $1 is over 150 and above. It fluctuates just like the peso, but now the exchange rate, man, the dollar is so strong in Japan. All right, let me look at my notes, make sure I hit all my notes about the sponsor. Any questions you have about sponsor? Any questions you have about the watcher? All right, let me see here. And the other thing I want to say, I do see this on my Facebook groups. I do see some expats, will mention there. I don't want to be around other expats. I don't, it's like, why would I move to an area where there are expats? But I think they just say that, I really do, because like what I've seen now is people have reached out to me that did that initially here. They're like, they live in Antique. Antique is one of the province here in Panay Island. A lot of people that select Antique are exactly that. They want to avoid expats, so they go in the mountains in Antique. But what they end up finding out is when you live in those areas, you miss the conversation, the the English conversation. Yeah, maybe you'll find a local that might be able to speak in English, but a lot of times they won't understand your humor if you're sarcastic, if you like making jokes, or they really won't be able to they can't relate to you. They can't relate to your lifestyle. You're basically the Filipinos, they're friendly, they're kind, but you're an outsider to them. It's like if you start talking to them, they might just give you the blank stare. That's why to me it doesn't make sense. But I understand everybody's different. To me, you need that conversation with expats. I think you need that. It don't have to be like you're always there. You're always hanging out with expats. But I think once a month, hanging out with expats, because the expats I meet here, like when I go to like the 8 Ball Tavern or in Kalibo or in New Washington, my friend Mick is an Australian guy. He owns the Junkster Cafe every Friday at happy hour. There's lots of expats there. The conversation is not about politics. It's not about negative stuff about the Philippines. Usually you see that online. I think a lot of times online, just my opinion, right? Online, people just spread hatred, spread negativity because really you don't know who they are, right? They might have a YouTube handle or a Facebook handle. They're not even their name, and they're just being negative, just spreading negativity. But in person, a lot of those people, I bet you they can't do that. I bet you they can't act like that, right? They can't, like all the negative stuff about the Philippines. I bet you if it's in a bar situation or a club situation where you're sitting down, they're not gonna, the keyboard warriors, they just got that, they think that they can get away with whatever they say, right? Because, they're anonymous online. But most of the time when I go to hang out with expats, it's a good experience for me. I've never really had a bad experience because people are civil, right? Maybe they have an opinion against your opinion, but when they're face to face, they can't talk as loudly or as bad when they're online. And they have to be civil at least when in person. Said hi. All right, average cost per night. All right, all right. The yen is around 155. Wow, 155. Like I said, Daniel, it was like 90 when I lived in Japan. So man, 155. That's like insane. That's insane, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's like what, about 75% increase in the dollar value. Man, that's crazy. It's time for me to visit Japan. Time for me to visit Japan. If only Dazzle would fly, man. If only Dazzle would fly, we would be visiting all these countries, man. So to me, that's the thing. I think you would have a more fun retirement here if you're especially the expats here. I know the Panay Posse, right? I know we all have, like, you can tell we got good vibes on our live stream. We're all saying hello to everybody. We know JP, we know HD, we know Daniel, Sergeant. I think we've already built a camaraderie even on the live stream here on our chat. So when we meet in person, of course we're gonna be more friends. Like I know, Edgar's my brother now, Ruben's my brother, Mel's my brother. It's like we're building this group of people that are cool people, like motorbikes, like fishing, So to me, it's a good thing. It's like I do not recommend isolating yourself and like Mel. I could tell Mel is not an extra. He's an introvert. He's a computer programmer. He likes doing his own thing. He doesn't like big groups, right? But once in a while, he hangs out with us. And Mel will just sit there, he's quiet. He'll talk, but I think you still need that because you can't like isolate yourself, especially you're in a foreign nation and you don't have people with the same background that you can talk your culture, just to like relax and have a beer, have a beer with, just like the way the people that I've seen that done that have not done well. Like the people that isolate themselves in Antique up in the mountains. Next thing I know, they're like, Gino, can you find me an apartment? Can you find me a place in Calibo? Can you find me a place there in Aklan? Not how some bloggers make videos about PH that are always negative but has never been there. Oh yeah. I even know a blog. I know bloggers in the US, they've been here, they visited the Philippines, but they haven't really lived here. I know a couple of bloggers that are like that. They think they understand the Philippines. They might be married to a Filipina, so they're vlogging about the Philippines, and I don't really understand the whole concept. Anybody's like entitled to what they're doing, but they bash the people that are living here in the Philippines. They bash, they're rejects in the United States, that's why they're in the Philippines. Or, they can't find a woman in the United States, that's why they're in the Philippines. But to me, at least they made the decision to like, they can't find a woman in the US. At least they're trying, right? You don't want to live alone. You don't want to live alone and grow old alone and end up in an assisted living or a nursing home in the United States. Why not go to the Philippines and meet a Filipina that will take care of you when you get older, when you need caring, when you need a caregiver? Why not? It's like, what's wrong with that? Sometimes the negativity, like you said, Daniel. Some of these vloggers, they visit the Philippines and they think they know everything about the Philippines. You will not understand the Philippines or the culture, the people, the way of living here until your boots on the